Good evening, everybody, and welcome to G4G on YouTube. Today we are in Marvel Avengers Alliance Redux Beta 6.04. If you've been watching the series on YouTube for quite some time, or if you've been coming to the streams, you know I've done the majority of my recording in Marvel Avengers Alliance Redux Beta 5.9, which is this one over here. Today, we're going to do another video in 6.04. There is no ETA of this beta getting into the hands of the public as of yet. Goofy's run into a little bit of a snag in his personal life and has had to step away from his coding duties for a bit, but the other developers are working on it quite feverishly, and as I've stated on a bunch of these videos lately, there is definitely a high degree of interaction between the beta testers and the actual developers. The developers have stated that even with Goofy dealing with some real-life items, they are going to plow ahead and do all the work that they are capable of doing, even if Goofy is AFK for a little bit. So that is definitely some good news. So Marvel Avengers Alliance Beta 6.04, aside from not having an ETA, is going to look a little bit different than the version you guys have. The version that is linked down below is 5.2, which is considerably back in time from Beta 5.9 and Beta 6, so it is going to have basically a little bit of a different setup from what you are seeing being recorded here. And as always, and this dates back many years now, there is no plans for a mobile version on this. It is just a Windows version and a Mac version, and by having a Windows version by proxy, that means a Linux version that would work on Steam Deck, and of course this does work on any Windows device, so Windows handhelds like the Asus ROG or the Lenovo Legion Go series and everything like that, it'll work on those. So let's go ahead and get into today's PvP. So I am not of a level yet where I have the 4th slot unlocked, so you can go ahead and ignore the sledge. We are using the rocket pistol from last week, the Loki scepter, and now we have added the chronolith to it. The idea is to get a little bit of an extra damage out of the rocket pistol when it takes its first shot. The plan is, or what would be ideal, is if Captain America goes before Iron Man and my agent. He can throw the shield, which increases the damage of ranged attacks, and that would be really good for a boosted rocket pistol, or any of the damage that Iron Man would do. Now, ideally, there's a blaster on the enemy side, allowing Cap to take 2 turns in hopefully what would be the first slot, and then my agent, and then Iron Man for the polish off or the finish up duties over there. So that's the ideal circumstance. A lot of people have said that something like this would be day 1 PvP, but remember, when Beta 6 drops, PvP won't be there, or PvAI really won't be there day 1, as you have to unlock it by going up to a certain point in the story. So you will have time to build up your roster and your gear, and I always say that the rocket pistol is the first thing you should spend your gold on. Really good initial damage, pretty good splash, and 2 very powerful debuffs at this stage in the game of burning and bleeding. Loki's scepter is there for rounds in which the rocket pistol can't be used, and of course that limits some damage coming my way by hopefully getting the team to attack each other. So let's go ahead and jump into our 5 and hope that we get 5 wins. So right off the bat, we are looking at a Unipulse agent. I recognize that gun. Notice it has the Iron Man colors. Blaster Iron Man and War Machine, and oh look, Cap is first, so this is the ideal setup. So we're going to punch Iron Man on the enemy side, which sets up target focus, and if you notice, Cap is doing really good damage. This is another reason why I like Cap going first, is surprisingly, he's actually quite peppy at this stage of the game. War Machine kind of blows his combo a little bit over there. I think that War Machine definitely has their full kit, but they chose to do an overcharge into a Blade Punch, which is not that bright. The enemy agent has locked on, so does War Machine. I think I will shoot Agent Jarvis, who takes him out in one shot, and then we get the splash onto War Machine. Now, this isn't particularly great for Iron Man, because he's Blaster and War Machine is a tactician, but I think we can suffer the extra toe. Okay, never mind. Apparently War Machine is not going to get the extra toe. For clarification and understanding, I'm level 26, and my armory only has one item slotted. It is a grenade. I'm doing this to kind of emulate the very beginning of PvP when you get Beta 6. So this is very much baby's first steps. Right now, the roster is not too robust. We definitely have a reasonable roster for this stage of the game. I just added Storm recently for an epic boss that we did on stream, and I'm actually going to slap her on the jets while we do PvP. So I did get Hawkeye's uniform very, very quickly. This is a very, very strong uniform for this stage in the game with his debuff arrows and the fact that they can even spill into his AoE. This is a worthwhile purchase of your command points because you are getting Hawkeye for free, and he is worth the CP, taking him up to his heroic age uniform. Yes, it is very functional. I know in 5.2 he's not doing too good, but he has been fine in 5.5, 5.6, 5.9, 6.0. When it comes around, the modern Doctor Strange or Defender's Doctor Strange uniform is definitely worth a purchase. For a Black Widow, getting Gray Suit early on is not a bad idea. Essentially, if you go cheap and get the Infiltrator version, she acts as a Infiltrator and Tactician. If you notice over here, single target attacks against marked for revenge targets grant an extra turn, so she's basically an Infiltact. And if you get the Tactician uniform, which is a little bit more expensive, she counters enemy attacks and she does become stealthy. You can't go wrong either way, just depends on what your budget is over there. Taking Hulk up to the World War Hulk uniform early is very good because he acts as the Warbringer axe. No pun intended there. This is a little pricey though. You might not find this in your budget. And then Spider-Man does have his black suit uniforms available. And that is where you can exploit webs. I've kind of always found the black suit rather skippable, and I like to go right into his Future Foundation so that I can start teaming him up with other Fantastic Four Future Foundation people. I think that's a relatively good team. Speaking of which, I did see the trailer for the Fantastic Four movie that's coming out, and I am mid on it. I know there's a lot of people that have some very big hype about that particular movie, and people are excited about Thing. I know a lot of people believe that they finally are getting Thing's representation right. I don't like it, actually. It's one of the things that makes me feel rather mid. Yeah, Circuit Breaker crashed combat. Okay, so Circuit Breaker is a little bit of a gadget that attempts to do a stun. I didn't know that was a problematic one, so it looks like we are facing a crash team here. Cheaters. Hackers. Just trying to get defensive wins. Report it to PD. Extend the season. Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't too happy with what Thing looked like. What it is, it's the eyebrows. The eyebrows look too big. And I know if I go to the team selection over here and look at them, it's fairly close to the upcoming movie representation, but it's still kind of within the parameters of his head there. I don't know. I wasn't that crazy about Thing, and I wasn't that crazy about Sue. The rest of the actors, not too bad. A lot of scrappers and an infiltrator. I think I will take care of the infiltrator so that Cap doesn't piss him off. I don't know. I can understand people being hyped, but the more that I look at the live versions that have been around in my lifetime, the more that I think the Chris Evans, Jessica Alba 2 are going to be the ones that I favor. I'm not going to sit here and say that, oh, Galactus is too small or something like that. As has been pointed out, Galactus can change his size and everything like that, so I don't think that's particularly bad. Yeah, but just feel kind of mid about it. Like, to me, when it comes to Marvel movies, there's 3 tiers. See it at the Alamo Drafthouse, and if you don't have an Alamo Drafthouse by you, it's basically a theater with very comfortable seats and kind of like very, very good high school armchair desk kind of tables and everything. And you sit down and get good food, you get good drinks at it and everything. My girlfriend and I tend to see a lot of the Marvel movies we're interested in. We tend to see them in Alamo. Tickets are not that expensive. The food can get expensive eventually, especially if you start adding in drinks. So we consider it kind of a special occasion to go there. To me, I feel like this Fantastic Four movie is going to be the mid-tier, which is wait for it to be on streaming. So the best tier is go to Alamo, the mid-tier is to wait for it to show up on streaming, and then the lowest tier is don't watch it at all. For me, sitting at mid-tier. I mean, go ahead and comment down below. Let me know what you think of that trailer if you hadn't been by the streams this week where we watched it and picked it apart a couple times. Yeah, leave the comments down below. It's also, there's a bit of a controversy right now that Marvel is using AI again. We know they did it for the Secret War intro. That was plainly obvious. It had all the obvious hallmarks of AI related art. But the poster for the Fantastic Four movie, people have been saying it looks a little on the AI-ish side. And when I really dive into the poster, I see some 3-fingered hands. There's a repeat old lady in the crowd where she's in the forefront, but then there's a faded out clone of her in the back. By the way, we are 3 for 3 now. And these last 2 with Nightcrawler, Daredevil are a little sketched. I can see their bleed teams. They could have been problematic, but we did pretty well. So let's get on to the 4th, and hopefully we go 5 and 5. But yeah, that poster definitely seems to have some AI in it. And for Marvel to defend it and say, no, it's not, I think they're kind of lying on that one. And I ran the art by my girlfriend, who is an artist and positively despises AI, and she said, yeah, it's got some parts in it that do seem to be AI, and she also pointed out some angles being used in there. I think one of the people holding a flag has got a really jank angle to them. Alright, so we are fighting the Iron Man War Machine team again, which is good for us. Cap went a little later in the order, however, I gotta tell you, aside from the rocket pistol, I kind of feel like Cap is the star of this team. Well, okay, no, maybe I take that back. Maybe that's just very well balanced, as all things should be. Alright, so we're 4 for 4, and oh boy. Okay, here we go. A fiery team. Human Torch, Phoenix, and a power of 4 in hand. And unfortunately, a relatively decent infiltrator uniform. The good news is there's 2 blasters over there. So Cap is going to have a good setup, and Cap is going to take out Human Torch before he does anything. Oh, okay. Did not get my extra turn. I really wanted to throw my shield because I knew that would take care of Human Torch. This is going to be interesting. I will shoot Phoenix, and the splash should take... Okay! Wow! Alright. Yup, that happened. I did not expect to one-shot Phoenix over there. I thought the splash would take care of Human Torch, and that would be good. But alright, I'll take it. I feel like the agent should have countered that, too. I think I'll go with the Dizzy. Okay, cool. Overkill for Cap. Tactician on an Infiltrator. Okay, since these have been going by pretty quick and pretty smooth, let's go ahead and throw in one more fight, one more extra one over here. Oh, okay, a mirror match, except they are in the Avengers uniforms, and there's a Coulson Revenge over there. This could be rough. Their hit points are way lower than mine. They don't really seem to be matching my stats. So let's take a look at this. It looks like I'm 5-bar and everything, which is actually not true. They appear to be 5-bar and everything. The agent is boosted a little bit. That is a tactician suit that is actually better than the one I'm wearing. Chances are they'd have a couple extra ISO slots. This should, on paper, probably go to them. With the exception of the fact that I have a rocket pistol, but he's got a Coulson's Revenge. So, deciding to take one more extra fight over here, it's either going to be fun or it's going to backfire on me. But, I think I want to take out Cap because he is a tactician and we've got a blaster. So, he survives, which is not unexpected. Here comes coordinated. Alright, missile barrage, that's burning, but it's not burning and bleeding like the Heartbreaker uniform. Cap gets an extra turn. Iron Man goes next, so I think Locked On is the way to go. And their Cap might actually die to dots. That. And Iron Man's gonna AoE. I'm not scared of that captain over there. Nice. Nice. Okay. Yeah. It was in the fun category, not the dramatic category. That was a good extra fight to take. And it was good to see a little bit of a different team and a more advanced team. Had we had equal HP and everything, I kind of have a feeling tactically we were still good, and even though the Coulson's creates extra attacks over there, I just think the splash damage from the rocket pistol plus the double dots would have netted us to win there in the mirror match. So, we are done with Thursday night fights over here. We've done our PvP fights, and we won all of them. A little bit of a different team than last week, but a very, very classic team for the beginning of PvP. I think the only thing more classic than this would be Human Torch versus Human Torch fights. Not too sure who my next pickup is going to be. With Storm having just been picked up, I probably will not go with another blaster, but I'm not really too sure. I've got Cyclops for the flanked and the kind of combat awareness. it may be dictated based on what epic boss I want to fight, and we're not ready for the Spec Ops yet. Maybe Thor. Thor and Hulk is usually really, really good team-up bonuses, so it just makes farming missions very easy. Wolverine could maybe do it for bleed teams, but he doesn't have a lot of really good partners as of yet. As we could see, well, if Swashbuckler's doing his bleeds and is available, potentially Wolverine and Nightcrawler would be a good team up. Kitty, not that interested in, not really interested in the Fantastic Four. Luke is a protector-styled scrapper, possibly. She-Hulk I tend to find boring at this stage of the game. Same for Sif. Yeah, I think Thor might wind up being the next purchase. Don't really need Colossus because I got Cap if I want to do some tanking. Maybe Daredevil. It'd be kind of interesting to have an early Daredevil. That's not something I've typically done. Got Doctor Strange for the sustain, got Black Cat for some bleeds, and high damage on the nerve chop when she's ready for it. So, roster's looking pretty good for this stage of the game. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. I hope you have a great weekend, and I will see you Tuesday over on Twitch.